Hey everybody, welcome back. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we have big news out of Georgia today. The 3 men charged in connection with the killing of Ahmaud Arbery have been convicted of murder and other charges. Now, this is kind of a weird legal position for this case, specifically that we don't talk about citizens' arrests every day. It's kind of a weird little legal subtopic. So we're going to talk very little about that. We're going to go over some factual background of this case, again, just a little bit, and we're going to talk about how some of these citizens' arrest laws might be changing in the wake of this case in the future. As always, if you're enjoying the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Now, as y'all know, I like to start things off with a lawyer joke. In most states, it's illegal for lawyers to sleep with their clients. Do you know why? Well, essentially, it's to prevent people from being charged twice for the same service. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Here's your roadmap for the video today. First of all, we're going to do a very brief factual overview for those of you who are not up on what has happened in this case. Second, we're going to talk about what is a citizen's arrest and talk about the content of some of those laws. Third, we're going to talk about how some of those citizen's arrest laws might be changing in the future. First of all, what exactly happened in this case? Ahmaud Arbery was out jogging, and 3 men saw that he was jogging and decided to chase him down in their cars. When they finally caught up with him, they got out of their cars. One of them was carrying a shotgun. A struggle ensued. Ahmaud Arbery was shot 3 times and died. The 3 men then claimed that they were attempting to make a citizen's arrest, number 1, and that number 2, when the struggle happened, that they were acting in self-defense. The jury obviously did not believe that story and convicted all 3 men of murder, various degrees of murder. Some of them got a more severe set of convictions than others, but all 3 were convicted of murder. So let's talk about exactly what is a citizen's arrest and why you should care. A citizen's arrest is, much like the name describes, it's an arrest by a citizen, except it can be by a non-citizen. But it's an arrest by a non-law enforcement person. It's an arrest by someone other than a law enforcement, other than a police officer. It's an arrest made by an ordinary person. Now, this is something that dates way back to the common law in merry old England, before the US was a country, yada, 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 when the sheriff would deputize kind of the ordinary common folk to go help apprehend lawbreakers, right? Think like the times of Robin Hood and stuff like that. Not really the kind of thing that you would think applies in 2021. Very different situation. Nonetheless, roughly 40 states in the US have some sort of law on the books that codifies the common law citizen's arrest. Now, when I say codifies, what does that mean? Well, common law is unwritten. Common law is a thing that is kind of discovered through the procession of case law. It's sort of like the sandstone is laid down by a river. That's kind of the best way that I can describe common law. If you want more explanation on common law, go to law school. Now, when I say that common law was codified, what does that mean? That means that a state legislature, or could be the national legislature, in this case it's state, takes this legal rule that exists in common law and they write it down into a formal statute. So it is no longer common law, it is now statutory. It is now in a book somewhere, number 1, ABC, number 2, ABC, number 3, ABC. This is the rule. It has been codified as part of a law. 40-something states have done that, and they all have different requirements and different characteristics and so on and so forth, depending upon what state you're in. This particular situation occurred in the state of Georgia. I am not going to opine on Georgia law, other than I will briefly show you the Georgia citizen's arrest law. So let's briefly talk about why a citizen's arrest statute or a citizen's arrest common law rule might be a good thing or a bad thing in various circumstances. Again, I'm talking overall. I'm not talking in the Ahmaud Arbery case. I'm talking in general from a society-wide perspective. Why might we want or not want this rule or this law? Well, take, for example, you're a shopkeeper. You own a store. You own some sort of retail establishment that sells things, sells stuff, food, widgets, whatever it may be. Someone comes in and is in the process of stealing stuff from you. The cops aren't there. You want to be able to grab that person and detain them. You want to be able to take that person and say, sit down and wait for the police to get here. Don't move because the cops are going to come arrest you. If you're a shopkeeper, you want that power. And as a society, we probably want to give you that power as a shopkeeper. That's a good thing. Now, what are some reasons not to have a citizen arrest statute or a citizen arrest law? Well, you're giving legal imprimatur to the use of force by one citizen against another citizen in cases other than self-defense, right? The citizen arrest law is not a self-defense law. This is a law that says, I saw this person doing a crime, I'm going to detain them until the cops arrive. That presents an inherent risk that use of force is going to escalate, because what if the person who's in your shop stealing your food, stealing your widgets, says, you know what, I don't really want to wait around for the cops to come and arrest me and take me to jail and charge me. I want to walk out that door. And then you're confronted with the choice of either let the person walk out the door or use force to detain them. Giving legal approval to that use of force presents a very slippery slope. And that doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means it's an idea that we should be careful with. So let's talk about what some of these citizen arrest statutes actually say. I'm going to put up on the screen Texas citizen arrest statute. Article 14.01 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. A peace officer or other person may, without a warrant, arrest an offender when the offense is committed in his presence or within his view, if the offense is one classified as a felony or as an offense against the public peace. Part B, a peace officer may arrest an offender without a warrant for any offense committed in his presence or within his view. Now, what this tells you is that there's a certain scope that a peace officer may arrest you for. This is basically the probable cause exemption to the warrant requirement. If a cop sees you do the thing, the cop can arrest you. They don't have to go to a judge and get a warrant. If the cop does not see you do the thing and there's not probable cause that you did the crime, then they have to go to a judge, get a warrant, get the prosecutor sign off, blah, 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 all this stuff. If they see you do it, they have probable cause, they can arrest you right there. There's a big circle that the cops can arrest you for. Within that larger circle is a much smaller circle of things that non-peace officers can arrest you for. And what that smaller circle is offenses classified as a felony or as an offense against the public peace. Meaning that in Texas, if the offense is not a felony or an offense against the public peace, a citizen's arrest cannot be made. Only a police officer can arrest you for those. So let's look at the Georgia statute next. One thing to say about the Georgia statute before we go any further is that on the heels of this Ahmaud Arbery killing, Georgia actually changed the law because they felt that the citizen arrest statute that was in place was not appropriate. They felt it was unjust. They felt it did not correctly reflect what the law ought to say in the year 2021, and it was changed. But let's look at what the law did say. A private person may arrest an offender if the offense is committed in his presence or within his immediate knowledge. If the offense is a felony and the offender is escaping or attempting to escape, a private person may arrest him upon reasonable and probable grounds of suspicion. Now, what does within his immediate knowledge mean? I don't know. I'm not going to give you an opinion on that. I'm not a Georgia lawyer. But this is the argument that the suspects were making when they killed Ahmaud Arbery. They were saying that they thought he had done a burglary. Now, obviously, the jury has said in a loud and clear voice that they did not believe that story told by the defendants when they convicted them of murder. As I discussed in the past video, the Kyle Rittenhouse video, the trier of fact is the jury. The person who determines, is this guy telling the truth or is he lying? That's the jury. And here the jury didn't buy their story and convicted them of murder. All right, our third topic is what can we expect to happen to citizen arrest laws in this country after the killing of Ahmaud Arbery and the conviction of his murderers? Well, a couple things. Number one, the law in Georgia has already been amended. It's been changed significantly, and that was already signed into law. In addition, you have proposals happening in at least South Carolina and New York, and probably more to come given the amount of commentary and ink that's being spilled on this. I'm going to predict that you'll see some amendments of citizen arrest laws across the country. You'll probably see quite a few. However, due to the example that I gave earlier, the entirely innocent shopkeeper who's just trying to detain the person before the police get there, I don't think that you'll see citizen arrest laws being repealed entirely. I think you'll see them being narrowed. I think you'll see them being cut back. I think you'll see the exceptions being reduced, the use of force reduced, that kind of thing. Those are all good things. However, I don't think that the political will is there to repeal them entirely. I think that probably you'll see them getting amended and written back. As always, if you're enjoying the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys next time.